back. How you all doing? Hope you're all well. So today we thought we'd actually just sit down in the van. We're actually parked up in a campsite, which is the first for us in 3 weeks since
weeks.
actually travelling. Well, it's the first time in this van overall. But basically what the cause of that is basically we haven't had a shower for 3 weeks. We've kind of washed. We've had like flannel washes. We've had stream washes in like cold water. And we've actually washed out of like a bucket with a flannel. But we hadn't had like a proper warm shower, so we'd kind of just really wanted one, especially Tabitha, you really wanted a shower, didn't you?
Yeah.
So we was kind of like, sod it, we'll just pay the money and come to a campsite. It's actually a really nice campsite, the owner's been really nice. Yeah, so they've got like some ponies and stuff, so it's not that bad. It's kind of not as nice as being in the wild, to be fair, but we get the amenities, we've got like toilet, shower, we can top up with water and stuff, so it's not that bad. That's not the actual reason why we're doing this video though. The main point I want to get across in this video is the fact that we might actually be selling this van already. We've lived in it for how long now?
Since the beginning of April. So we did live on it on my mum's farm during lockdown. We were in it every day apart from one when we were fitting the diesel heater. We just didn't get it fitted in time, so it was just easier to sleep in the house one day. But yeah, it's been something like over 100 days now that we've actually been in the van, and it's been perfectly fine. We've not killed each other yet.
No. Yeah. And we've realised now that we really love actually living in a van. Not only because what it allows us to do in terms of like the travel, but the fact that you live really cheap, and it's kind of just nice just to be out in nature all the time. And to be fair, we've had some pretty dodgy park-ups, like even last night. If you watch the video, we kind of got a bit confused where we was going and took a risk and stuff and ended up on like a side of a 6 mile an hour road on a little tiny lay-by. But that kind of adds to it. It was still a nice view.
So I thought we'd start off by telling you what we actually love about this van. And the first one is that it's small. I've only driven a Yaris for like 7 years, so when I first got into this I was really nervous and it did seem really big. Now it's not too bad and I'm a lot more confident in driving it. But the great thing about being small is the fact that it's so much easier to go down these single track roads. I never realised how many there was in the UK, and we just seem to keep hitting them.
Especially Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland was really bad. There was just so many, so it's just easier. You're a bit thinner. You're only a little bit wider than the car on this one, so it's
good starting place.
Yeah, it's a good starting place
for sure.
And rolling on from that, it is easy to drive. I've driven it perfectly fine, minus a couple of hiccups, but it's been really easy to drive. I've loved it. I've never drove a diesel before. It was a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been perfectly fine, easy to drive.
It's been like a good step up for you, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. It's just been a good big confidence boost. And it just makes you feel confident about, like you can drive anything now.
Yeah. Yeah, I still can't drive this, annoyingly. Like, I've got to wait till November. So yeah, a bit annoying. Even if we do sell this van, I still can't drive another van or anything, so yeah, bit annoying. Yeah, so following on from obviously the points of like it's small and easy to drive, it means you can park anywhere. Like, we haven't come across a parking spot where we can't get in. Like the other day when we was parked up with Rob and Archie from Archie and Me, that's kind of like a really tiny little, I don't know what it's like, a little, yeah, it's kind of not a lay-by, it's kind of like off the road. It kind of like goes like this and then goes like this.
Yeah, and there was loads of stones, so it was hard to kind of even like.
And then we had to try and turn around. If you had like anything bigger than this van, or obviously like his Citroen Dispatch, you wouldn't be able to get in. You might be able to squeeze in like one in a medium wheelbase or something, but the turning circle, like to go in, and then especially if you want to turn around, there's no way you'd be turning around. You'd have to be reversing back out. If you reversed backwards and went in, maybe you could get in, but that kind of proves the point of like, that's the big thing about small vans, is you can park anywhere. You haven't got to drive past somewhere and go, oh, I can't really fit in that. You know what I mean? If a car can fit in it, this can pretty much fit in it. So that's the best thing about the fact that it's small and easy to drive, is you can kind of go to all them little places that you just wouldn't be able to go to with a bigger van, which is a real bonus, especially in the UK. There's obviously a lot of places where you can't really get bigger vans, and a smaller van is obviously beneficial for that. Yeah, then rolling on from like them points, this is a bit different point, but we have everything in this van we need. We have like the cooker, we have the solar power, we have the diesel heater, we have the storage space. Like, we're on the limit of storage space, but we do have a couple of boxes underneath the bed that are like not full. So we can fit everything we need, and it has everything we need, you know what I mean? Like, obviously it's not as comfortable because there's certain things missing, but like, it does have everything that we really need to survive, and more. Obviously you don't need a diesel heater to survive, you don't need a solar like panel and electric and stuff. You can deal without electric. Yeah, I know, obviously people do deal without electric still. Especially, we've realised that from driving around, that like that like getting 4G can be quite difficult, especially even in England.
Not
Like,
even just 4G, it's service. Like,
yeah.
we went through like the whole Forest of Bowland with no service. I don't understand how people can live.
Yeah, and there's villages with people living there and no service.
So that does mean that if we decide to actually keep this van, we can still live in it. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's comfy to an extent.
It's livable.
Yes, it's definitely livable.
That's the main point.
But it's not terrible either.
No, it's not. We're not going, oh, we're unhappy in this van. Like, we're still happy with it. It might just be time to move onwards and upwards. And we'll kind of speak about that a little bit more in the video. But so the downsides to the van, because obviously now we spoke about the positives to downsides in the van.
The main one is that we can't stand up, and it hasn't really been much of an issue. It's only
I don't know. It's been a slightly big issue. It's not been like be all and end all for sure.
But it's something it's up there that I would change about this van.
100%.
And I wouldn't put a high top on these. Just don't
No,
like
they
them.
look horrible with high top. I don't like
But
them.
it's been more when we've come to like cooking,
Yeah.
washing up,
Yeah.
and actually having a wash ourselves. It's been quite a nightmare to wash my hair in the bowl. It's literally like doing some kind of yoga stuff.
Yeah, and the thing is, as well, we kind of thought we'd be able to get away with that because when we rented out the van,
Yeah, the
it was
Caddy.
Caddy Maxi, that had a pop top. And when we had the pop top up, Tabitha could wash hair easily enough in it. Fenif was only in it for 3 nights, but Tabitha still washed her hair in it, and we both had like a full body wash in like a flannel wash.
Yeah.
But because you're standing up, it's a lot easier, and it's doable again in this van. Hence why this van is still livable, and for like just to travel with, it's brilliant. But to live in, these are limitations that kind of not make it a little bit annoying. You know what I mean? It's not quite as enjoyable as if you had a high top on it, for argument's sake. So not being able to stand up is probably the biggest reason we're thinking about selling the van, I'd say.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
Yeah. So following on from not being able to stand up and like that making it harder for cooking, the other thing that's kind of made it hard for cooking is not having a fridge. That's not been as big as we thought it was going to be fair, because we did take a big risk in not having a fridge in this van, and we've dealt with it perfectly fine. Like, we've not missed really anything. Yeah, so living without a fridge is definitely doable. And we've just been eating basically mainly vegetables and stuff like that. Rice, pasta, vegetables, sauces and stuff, which obviously you don't need to keep in a fridge. But it would be nice to be able to have burgers or bacon or cheese and stuff, like things that you just can't obviously keep outside a fridge. That would be nice to have. And especially when it comes to cooking. Like, I loved cooking in the flat. And I still really enjoy cooking. But I just don't do it as often as I did because of that, because like I can't stand up and cook and I can't stand up to prep, and because I don't have meat, which for me, I'm still in the process of transitioning over to like a more of a vegetable based diet. We've always been, both of us I think, especially me, I've always been like big meat eaters. So coming into a van where we haven't got a fridge and we can't keep meat, that's been huge. We've pretty much been eating vegetarian for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, you've struggled with this a lot more than I have. I really feel like I could go vegetarian and I'd be perfectly fine. I don't crave meat.
No, I couldn't.
We don't have meat for a few days and then we're like, just want meat.
Yeah, I couldn't go vegetarian as much as I'd like to, like for the benefits of it, for the environment and animals and stuff like that. I just couldn't. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy meat too much. So
fried chicken.
Yeah, fried chicken, sure. But yeah, so for me, that's kind of a big thing, especially because I like cooking. Not having a fridge, it's not a massive downside, but it's just them little things that kind of just niggle away at you. Like today we've come to the campsite, so we've actually bought beef burgers, but they're just kind of sat on the side. And because it's beef, it'll be fine, you know what I mean? It's only for a few hours before we actually cook and eat them. But we wouldn't be able to do that normally, because we just haven't got a fridge to keep them. We'd have to buy them and eat them at the same time. And then that kind of leads on to the other point as well about not being able to wash up, like, because at the minute we're washing up in a bowl, just a little bowl. Like when it comes to cooking beef burgers and stuff, obviously it gets really messy. And because we can't carry much water because it's a smaller van, we don't really want to be cooking beef burgers. Like, we're only going to cook beef burgers at the minute in this van when we come to places like this where we can got unlimited water basically, and we can go and wash up and change the water and stuff like that. Yeah, so having a fridge is kind of a big one, but not huge. You know what I mean? That's definitely not a deal breaker either. None of these are deal breakers really. They're kind of just things that we'd like to improve on, or that we'd like to have. Yeah, and the next thing is kind of mainly for me than Tabitha.
Yeah.
So we've got like the little toilet. Let me grab it. You can see my throne.
It's not that good looking, don't worry.
No, so it's just like a little bucket basically that collapses down, and it does the job, like more than does the job. But for me specifically, when I actually sit down to a toilet, not everything fits inside the hole.
You're making it sound like it's big here.
I am. But yeah, so not everything fits in. And it just kind of makes it uncomfortable. It's doable, like I've been doing it for 3 weeks and it's been fine, but that is definitely a downside for me. Tabitha's not too bad with it.
No, I've actually been surprisingly really proud of myself for the whole toilet situation. I think the toilet situation was the bit I was nervous about the most.
Yeah.
And it's fine, I just kick Liam out and then you open the doors
Yeah.
and it's fine.
But they're the downsides though. So like if it's raining, one of us don't have to leave the van, but obviously you don't want to sit inside such a small space while the other one's going to the toilet. So you leave the van. If it's raining, you have to put your raincoat on, then you kind of just stood out there like an idiot getting wet while the other person's doing their business. And then on top of that, we're doing it in like plastic bags. Obviously not good for the environment, and obviously having to spend money all the time on plastic bags. So if we did do a bigger van, we would obviously change to a composting toilet just because we don't have the space again because this is such a small van. So that's kind of an annoying issue for me because every time I go, it's just uncomfortable to go. Like, it's just not enjoyable at all. So yeah, that's kind of a big point for me, not really for you, just for me, innit?
Yeah. And then the final point is actually having to make the bed every day, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It is nice and it gets us actually up and doing things in the morning, and then we actually have to put the bed away before we can actually start. But when the bed's out, we can't get to any of our storage. It's literally, once it's out, and you're not eating, or if you forgot something, that's it.
And I'm not eating anything at night.
And he's always hungry.
Yeah.
So it's not a deal breaker, but it would be nice to have a permanent bed.
Yeah.
And it was so much easier when we went to do the laundrette the other day because there's not much room. We had to try and get the duvet in the van.
It was doable. Again, all this is doable. Like we're not moaning about any of this at all. Like it's all fine. But if we are in a position where we can sell the van and do something different, then maybe we'll do that. But they're the downsides to it. So obviously we kind of like the van, and then there's a few things we don't like about the van. And I gather everyone who has a van has that situation.
Yeah.
But there are situations in terms of what we like and don't like. The future, though, this is the interesting part, is Tabitha.
The future is that we're thinking about putting the van up for sale, possibly in the next month.
Yep.
If not November.
Yeah.
Kind of to see how everything pans out, really.
Because I have a wedding to go and photograph at the start of September, I have to be back at Tabitha's mum's farm, kind of around that area. We can obviously stay in the van in laybys and stuff, but like around that area for September, anyway, our plans for travel would come to a halt at that point. Then we'd kind of have a break for a week or so, then obviously travel again. But if we're going to do the van, we've been thinking about it, and actually doing the van in September and October would be better than doing it like November, December, January, just because of obviously the weather. So it'll be easier to build a van in the warmer weather. Like, we built this van in the winter months, and it wasn't horrible, but if we do another van, which we will be a lot bigger than this, that's for sure, we won't have anywhere to store that, like, under cover. It'll have to be built outdoors. So building that outdoors in the winter would not be fun at all. It was bad enough indoors, like in the winter, building this one. So outdoors would be proper horrible. So we're probably going to do that in September. More than likely September, to be honest. If we're going to do it, we'll do it in September, I reckon. We'll sell this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we do decide to sell this van, we will be buying another van. We're not quitting van life or anything like that. We love van life at the minute. We're enjoying it. We've been living in the van, like we say, for quite a few months now, and obviously travelling for a little while. But yeah, so the plan will be to get a bigger van. It will definitely be a high top. I think you can kind of gather that from the video. It's one of the big things. Definitely high top. But the only thing that's up in the air at the minute is either it's going to be a long wheelbase or a medium wheelbase. We've drawn out a little plan on a bit of paper of how we'd want it to be. More than likely, it'll be a high top, long wheelbase van. Maybe a medium wheelbase, but more than likely not. I reckon it'll be high top, long wheelbase. So we're going the other end of the spectrum. We've had a little tiny van. Now we're going for a huge van. So the main advantage of having such a big van would be obviously we can have a shower built in there. Maybe not like an electric shower or anything, because obviously that all depends on money. But like even a hose lock, is hose locking it, you were saying? Yeah, that you can obviously stand up in a shower cubicle and have a shower inside the van. We can have a toilet that can fit everything in. Then we can obviously wash our pots easier and cook easier and stuff like that. So that's kind of the main thing, is we can have like a big bed as well. We'll be able to have a full-size bed, won't we? Yeah, won't have to make the bed every day. We'll be able to have a fridge in there. So there's quite a lot of things that if we get a bigger van that we'll be able to have. Yeah, so it's pretty much set in stone now that like we love van life and we definitely want to carry on doing it for the long term. So with that being said, it kind of makes sense now that we would just go for it. Even though we went for it with this, but like if we can sell this and go for a much bigger van that we can really like make a home, because this is kind of like a little travel bubble sort of thing. Like it has everything you need to travel and to live and to sustain yourself, but it's not as comfortable. You know what I mean? Whereas if we had a bigger van, we'd have like a bed that's up permanently, a shower room, like you'd be able to stand up, and a seating area and a desk to edit the videos. Because like I hate editing on my legs, and even though we have the table here, if they're both is sat inside here and we have a little table up, that's another annoying thing.
Yeah, and I can't get out of the van
Yeah.
at all. Like once we're kind of in the van, I have to then squeeze around them to get out.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just little niggly things that kind of just grind on you a little bit. But yeah, so I think the plan will be look at selling the van in September. If we can get the money that we need for the van, and it sells, and then we've got enough money after that sale to build a bigger van, that's what we'll do. But you never know, obviously, we'll kind of see how things play out, how much we actually sell this van for, if we even sell the van at all. Yeah, so we thought you'd give you a quick update on the fact that we probably will be selling the van, and it probably will be in September, and we will be starting a new project, hopefully in September, because obviously we'll have to wait for this van to sell to then look and buy a new van, and then we've got the whole process to obviously build it. And to be honest, I love building this van.
Yeah, when we finished this van, I was quite sad because I was like, oh, I just want to build another van.
Yeah, and now I might be doing that.
Yeah, I'm excited, but I'm nervous at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a big project starting a new van.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'd just end it on the point of it's not set in stone.
No.
You know what I mean, we might end up with this van until November and beyond, but we're going to look at selling this van in September, and getting a bigger van. So watch that space.
So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.